Chosen ones, if you are hearing these words right now, know that it is no coincidence. You are standing on the threshold of a monumental shift in your life, a shift that will redefine how you view every challenge you have endured. All the setbacks, all the tears, all the trials you thought would break you, were in fact molding you, refining you, preparing you for such a time as this. Yes, the struggle was real, but it was never permanent. It was preparation, and now the reward is on its way, like a mighty wave, eager to wash over every dry area of your life. Take a moment and reflect on all the battles you have fought, the lonely nights where you questioned if anyone understood your pain, if anyone saw the sacrifices you made in secret. Those moments were not wasted. They were forming in you a resilience that cannot be bought, a strength that cannot be replicated by comfort. They were forging a champion spirit within you, one that would be able to handle the magnitude of blessings that are about to pour into your life. You see, the greater the calling, the more intense the preparation. The most precious metals endure the hottest fires, and you have been through the fire. But look at you now, you still stand, you still press on, and that is the evidence that you are chosen for more. You did not come this far by accident. Every detour, every delay, every door that seemed to slam in your face was divinely orchestrated to redirect you, to position you for something far greater than you imagined. The struggle was never meant to destroy you, it was always meant to strengthen you. Like a seed that must break open before it can sprout, you have felt the pressure of being in dark, hidden places. Yet, in that hiddenness, your roots were growing deeper, tapping into the wellspring of divine wisdom and faith. Now, just like a seed emerges from the soil into the light, you are about to break through into a season of visible glory and undeniable favor. Chosen ones, can you sense the excitement coursing through the atmosphere? There is an expectancy in the spiritual realm, a sense that the clouds heavy with blessings are about to burst open. The last season tested you, pruned you, refined you. This new season will establish you, enlarge your territory, and make it clear that the hand of God is on your life. Let me remind you of David. He fought lions and bears in secret while tending sheep. No one applauded him, no one wrote psalms about him yet. But those battles were the crucible preparing him for Goliath, the stage that would reveal him to the world. So too have your private battles been a test for the public victory that is about to manifest. There is power in understanding that the struggle was preparation. It changes how you view your scars. They are no longer marks of shame but trophies of endurance. It shifts your mindset from victim to victor, because you realize those hardships had a purpose, to grow you into the person who can steward immense blessings with humility and wisdom. Indeed, many desire the blessing, but few are prepared for the weight of it. You, however, have been prepared. Type 777 in the comments as a declaration that you receive this word, that you acknowledge your struggle was not for nothing, and that you stand ready for the reward. This is not just a superficial act, it is a symbolic gesture that you are aligning with this message, opening the door for heaven to flood your life with everything that has been reserved for you. Do it with conviction, knowing that faith is often activated by simple yet powerful acts of agreement. Chosen ones, the reward is not just financial, it encompasses every sphere of your life. Relationships, health, purpose, inner peace, and yes, material provision as well. The notion that money alone solves everything is an illusion. True wealth is holistic. It's the ability to wake up each day free from the chains of worry, to do what you are called to do without the constant burden of lack, to bless others without reservation, to walk in rooms radiating confidence because you know who you are and whose you are. That is the life you are stepping into. The very trials you thought were set to bury you are turning into stepping stones that will elevate you before the eyes of many. Every tear you shed watered the seeds of greatness within you. Every disappointment pushed you deeper into relying on God's guidance rather than human strength. Every heartbreak taught you compassion, forging empathy in your heart for those who are hurting. Every time you fell to your knees in despair, you were actually positioning yourself in the perfect posture for divine download and spiritual reinforcement. You may have felt weak then, but God's power was quietly being made perfect in your vulnerability. Now, as you rise, you do so with a power and authority you could never have accessed had you not been crushed by adversity. Look at Joseph, betrayed by his own family, sold into slavery, wrongfully accused and locked in prison. By all appearances, his struggle was endless. Yet each trial was a rung on the ladder to destiny. Each setback taught him leadership, patience, and reliance on God. When the time came, Joseph was promoted from the prison to the palace in a moment, positioned to save nations from famine. The very path that looked like destruction turned out to be a meticulous crafted route to his reward. So too with you. The struggles you faced were precisely the route you needed to become who you are destined to be. Take this moment to reflect. Let your heart dare to believe that everything is about to shift, that the heavens are about to release a downpour of blessings so great you will have to expand your capacity to contain it. It's okay if you feel a mix of excitement and trembling. That trembling simply means you grasp the magnitude of what is happening. You are crossing a threshold from a season of relentless battle into a season of overwhelming favor. And let me tell you something about favor. It accelerates everything. Opportunities, resources, and connections that used to elude you will now chase you down. Doors that once mocked you with their closed stance will swing wide at your approach. Yes, some may doubt you. They may question how someone who went through so much could suddenly stand in such abundant grace. But let that serve as a testament to the transforming power of God. Your life will be a living sermon, a message of hope to anyone who thought their past disqualified them. You will show them that the struggle was never a disqualification, but a qualification for higher calling. You paid the price in tears, in lonely nights, in hidden faith. Now reap the reward that comes to those who endure to the end. Type 777 if you feel that surge in your spirit, that inner resonance that tells you this word is for you. Some of you have been holding on to faith by a thread, wondering if your time would ever come. Let this moment be the encouragement you need to tie a knot in that thread and hang on. The reward is approaching rapidly, and it has your name on it. You may have felt invisible in your suffering, but heaven has had eyes on you all along. Chosen ones, do not be surprised if you sense a fresh wave of creativity or inspiration. Often, when the season shifts, God pours new ideas, strategies, and inventions into your spirit, giving you the blueprint for the next level. These downloads may come in dreams, in quiet moments, or through timely conversations. Embrace them, steward them well, because they are part of the reward system. Remember, a reward is not always a bag of gold dropped in your lap. Sometimes it's a golden idea that changes your trajectory forever. Discern the difference and act accordingly. Have you noticed how an olive must be crushed to produce precious oil, or how grapes must be pressed to yield fine wine? The crushing, the pressing, these are metaphors for what you've endured. But just as olive oil and wine are more valuable in their processed state than as raw fruit on a tree, you too have increased in value. You are no longer naive, no longer easily swayed, no longer fragile in your faith. The reward you are stepping into is far sweeter because of the bitterness you once tasted. This is the season where God turns your mourning into dancing, your ashes into beauty. You will wear garments of praise instead of a spirit of despair. The shift will be undeniable, and even those who doubted you will have to acknowledge the transformation. Yet remember to remain humble, for pride is a thief that seeks to sabotage your blessing. Stay grounded in gratitude, recognizing that without the struggle, you would not have the depth of character needed to sustain the reward. Type 777 if your heart is shouting, "I'm ready." You have no idea how powerful that simple act of agreement can be. It signals to every opposing force that you are not backing down. It declares to heaven that you are wide open to receive. It tells your own soul that the season of hiding behind uncertainty is over. Yes, the struggle was real, but so is the reward. And it's coming swiftly, like a train that cannot be stopped, carrying everything you need for this next chapter. Chosen ones, let me encourage you to silence any lingering voice of unworthiness. Some of you might think you messed up too many times, or you didn't handle certain trials perfectly. Let me assure you, God's grace is not dependent on your perfection. The reward was ordained before you made your first mistake. Repentance, realignment, and faith are more than enough to get you back on track. The enemy loves to replay your faults, hoping to convince you that your seat at the table is forfeited. But the reservation stands. Your name has been etched into the seat. All you need to do is show up with a believing heart. Pause for a moment and envision yourself walking into an answered prayer. Whether that looks like a new business flourishing, a restored relationship, a financial breakthrough, or a ministry expanding beyond anything you thought possible, let that vision ignite a fire in your belly. Speak life over that vision daily. Thank God for it as though it has already come. Such gratitude is not delusional, it is an act of faith that often speeds up manifestation. You are aligning your words with heaven's reality instead of earthly circumstances. Just as the children of Israel ate manna in the wilderness, miraculous provision day after day, know that your wilderness had miracles too. You survived things that should have broken you. You found the strength to keep going when others gave up. You discovered glimpses of God's faithfulness in the most desolate places. Those experiences form the backbone of your testimony now. The difference is, you will no longer be living in survival mode. You are entering a time of thriving, a land flowing with milk and honey, a season where blessings are not sporadic but consistent. Type 777 if you can taste the sweetness of that promised land. Let your faith take a leap, ignoring the voices that say you're being unrealistic. Since when was God confined by human logic? The same creator who breathed galaxies into existence can surely orchestrate your turnaround in an instant. And often it happens at the exact moment we choose to believe wholeheartedly, refusing to allow fear a foothold. Chosen ones, the struggle was preparation, here comes the reward. These words are not a generic mantra. They are a prophetic decree for your life. If you have felt overlooked, get ready to be singled out for favor. If you have faced financial despair, prepare to testify about supernatural provision. If your health was attacked, anticipate a testimony of restoration. If your relationships were strained, watch as peace beyond understanding floods in. The scope of the reward touches every corner of your existence, for the God you serve is holistic in his blessings. Think of Job, who lost almost everything and yet ended up with twice as much as before. His struggle was incomprehensible, but his steadfast trust in God paved the way for a reward that exceeded all expectations. Let that story remind you that no matter how deep the valley, the mountaintop still awaits. You might have been stripped down to what felt like nothing, yet in that barrenness, God was setting the stage for a double portion. Take hold of that promise and refuse to let go. In this very hour, the atmosphere is thick with possibility. Some of you may feel a tingle or warmth in your spirit, a strong confirmation that your life is on the brink of change. Dare to believe. That is the Holy Spirit affirming this word. Remember, faith comes by hearing. You are not stumbling upon this message by chance. Your steps are ordered even when you don't see the full picture. Keep walking, keep believing. Your reward is closer than you think. Type 777 if your spirit is leaping in agreement. Let your comment be a digital altar, a place where you seal your commitment to embrace the upcoming season of blessings. Resist the temptation to shrink back, to underplay your excitement. God loves when we approach Him with childlike anticipation, fully convinced that He is good and desires to bless us beyond measure. Shake off the weariness of the past season. It's time for renewal, for dancing, for rejoicing in what's already set in motion. Yes, there may still be battles ahead, but they will not look like the old battles. You have graduated from that level. The challenges of the new season might be bigger, but so is your capacity, so is your faith, so is the magnitude of resources at your disposal. You will be navigating from a place of victory, not from a place of desperation. Your vantage point has shifted. You see from above, not from below, because you have ascended in faith through the fires of adversity. Chosen ones, do not be surprised if people who discounted you suddenly seek your input or partnership. Favor has a way of flipping scripts. Those who once wrote you off will be compelled to acknowledge that something remarkable is happening in your life. Keep your heart free from bitterness. Show them the grace that was shown to you in your lowest moments. It's not about proving them wrong, it's about glorifying God through your response. That's how you sustain the reward once it arrives. By walking in love, humility, and wisdom. Pause again to consider what you will do with the reward. How will you handle the increase, the new influence, the resources that are about to come into your hands? Have a plan rooted in kingdom principles. If you receive a financial windfall, maybe you will invest in a project that uplifts your community, fund missions, or start that business that has been a lingering dream. If you experience growth in your platform, maybe you will use it to speak life into others who feel as you once did. The reward is not just for personal comfort, it is a tool for greater impact. Understanding this keeps you grounded and ensures the flow never dries up. Type 777 if you are preparing your heart, your mind, and your hands to steward the blessings. This is your moment to declare readiness. No more second-guessing, no more apologizing for the light that is about to shine through you. You are a vessel of glory, an ambassador of hope. The struggle qualified you to speak to those still in the trenches, to reach out a helping hand with credibility. You know what it's like to feel hopeless, so you will be a beacon of hope for others. That is the beauty of God's redemptive plan, turning what was meant for evil into a force for good. Chosen ones, watch as doors fly open. Watch as phone calls, emails, or messages bring the opportunities you have been praying for. Watch as financial burdens lift and as fresh creativity blooms. Watch as relationships mend or new ones form that align with your purpose. This is not wishful thinking, it is the inheritance of faith. You have paid a price in the form of endless prayers, quiet sacrifices, unwavering hope against hope. Now see the harvest come. Remain vigilant, though. The enemy hates to see you blessed, especially after all the times he tried to break you. He may attempt to sow seeds of doubt at the very brink of your breakthrough, whispering that it's too good to be true, or that you'll lose it once you have it. Cast down these lies. Reinforce your spirit daily with prayer, with uplifting content, with scripture, and with the fellowship of believers who truly have your back. Let your guard stay up, not in fear, but in the wisdom that you now carry precious cargo, the reward that was promised. Type 777 if you are resolute in protecting this season of reward. Let the entire universe witness your stance of unshakable faith. You're not here to play small. You're here to manifest the fullness of what God destined for you. Embrace it without apology, without shrinking back, without feeling unworthy. You have been forged in the flames, tried by adversity, and proven faithful. That is why the reward has been authorized for release in your life. Chosen ones, the struggle was preparation. Here comes the reward. The words themselves carry an impartation of hope. As you absorb them, let them settle in the deepest chambers of your heart. Reread them if you must. Speak them aloud in moments of doubt. Memorize them until they become a reflex in your mind. That is how faith grows, by continuous exposure to truth. And this truth is that your suffering has an expiration date, your process a destination, and your story a triumphant conclusion that will leave you in awe. Allow yourself to dream again, to plan again, to hope again. If there were dreams you shelved because the struggle seemed too great, take them off the shelf. Dust them off. Breathe fresh life into them. The timing was not right before, but it is now. The gates of favor are swinging open, and you are invited to step in and claim what was always meant to be yours. This is not arrogance. It is confidence grounded in knowing who your Father is and how He orchestrates redemption. Every time you felt overlooked, remember that God often hides His best in plain sight. Like a treasure concealed until the perfect moment, you have been hidden for a purpose. Now that purpose is unfolding. Let no insecurity hold you back. Let no voice of the past keep you chained. Let no fear of the future rob you of the present breakthrough. Rise, chosen one, into the spotlight of your calling. Let the struggle become the stage upon which your reward is showcased. Type 777 if you can already envision that stage, if you can sense the applause of heaven celebrating your unwavering faith. You are not alone in this journey. Angels have been encamped around you, taking note of every tear, every prayer. They are ready to accompany you into the promised land of your reward. Their assignment is to ensure that no weapon formed against you prospers, and that you fulfill the destiny etched into your very being. Yes, the enemy will try last-ditch efforts to derail you. Expect sudden distractions, old temptations, or random conflicts to pop up. Recognize them for what they are, desperate attempts to block your elevation. Stand firm, for you are no longer the person you were at the beginning of this struggle. You have leveled up in discernment, in power, in authority. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. The authority you carry now is a direct result of how faithfully you walked through the fires of adversity. Chosen ones, let me remind you that the reward is not meant to be hoarded. It is meant to flow through you like a river, blessing everyone in its path. Consider how you will use the resources and opportunities that come your way. Maybe you will mentor others who are still in their season of struggle, guiding them with empathy and wisdom. Maybe you will invest in causes close to your heart, or provide for loved ones who once doubted your potential. Whatever you do, do it with gratitude and generosity, for that is the currency of continued favor. Type 777 if your heart is ablaze with the desire to be a conduit of blessing. Such a posture aligns you with the very nature of God, who is the greatest giver of all. Your reward is not an endpoint, it's a fresh starting line for greater impact. You will find that as you pour out, you are filled even more. This divine exchange keeps the blessings circulating, ensuring you never return to that place of barely surviving. You will thrive because you have learned the secret. The more you bless, the more you are blessed. Chosen ones, do you realize how close you are? The horizon is glowing with the dawn of a new day. The night of weeping is giving way to a morning of joy. This is not shallow optimism, it is spiritual reality. Deep calls unto deep, and your spirit is resonating with the frequency of God's promise. Let your praise rise, let your worship intensify, let your declarations be unwavering. Call those things that are not as though they are, speaking life into every corner where darkness tried to claim victory. Remember, the struggle was preparation. Here comes the reward. Hold on to that statement like a lifeline in any remaining moment of uncertainty. Know that your God is a finisher, not just a starter. If He led you into a season of preparation, He will lead you into the season of triumph. Reflect on every miracle you have witnessed so far, every sign that assured you God was still with you. Those were appetizers. The main course is about to be served. Type 777 if you feel that holy anticipation coursing through your veins. This is your time to set the stage for miracles upon miracles. You do not have to figure out every detail, simply trust and obey the promptings that arise in your spirit. Sometimes you just know you need to send that email, make that phone call, or show up at that event. Sometimes you sense you have to pray for that person or sow a seed at a peculiar time. Pay attention to these nudges. They are the finishing touches in the divine tapestry of your reward. Chosen ones, you are on the brink of a story that generations will talk about. People will point to you and say, "Look what God did in their life. If it happened for them, it can happen for me." You will become a beacon in the testimonies of others, a catalyst for their faith to rise. Do not shy away from this responsibility. Embrace it with humility, remembering that you were once the one searching for a light in the darkness. Now you get to be that light, shining brightly in a world that desperately needs hope. Chosen ones, pause and take a breath. Let the intensity of this message settle in your heart. You have come too far, conquered too many mountains, and endured too many deserts to doubt now. The struggle was never the end of your story. It was a chapter that refined you for the abundance that is poised to flood every corner of your existence. In the same way a master potter shapes clay through pressure, your experiences have shaped you into a vessel capable of holding the overflow that is coming. You are not who you were at the beginning of this journey. You are stronger, wiser, and far more prepared to walk in the fullness of your calling. Consider the caterpillar that goes through a confining cocoon stage before emerging as a butterfly. To the caterpillar, the cocoon might feel like a prison, a tight space of darkness. Yet without that struggle, the wings would never form correctly. Without that season of confinement, the creature would never soar. Your struggles have been your cocoon, forcing you to rely on inner resources you did not know you possessed, connecting you to a source of power that transcends human logic. Now, the wings are formed, the transformation is nearly complete, and flight is inevitable. Do not cling to the familiarity of the cocoon when the skies are calling you higher. Think about every time you prayed for a breakthrough, for clarity, for a fresh wind to blow upon your situation. Each of those prayers has been heard, and though the answers might have seemed delayed, they were always in transit. In the hidden realm, angels have been working. Battles have been fought on your behalf, and supernatural alignments have been orchestrated to bring you to this pivotal moment. Let that sink in. The God who created the universe has specifically arranged elements in your favor. You may not see all the details, but you have felt the gentle pushes, the miraculous moments that defied explanation. Those are the fingerprints of divine intervention. Type 777 in the comments if you acknowledge these divine fingerprints in your life. If you remember the times you almost gave up but found strength in the nick of time. Let this act be a beacon that signals your heart is wide open for the reward that was always part of the plan. You have not been overlooked. You have been in training. And oh, how sweet the victory tastes when you know the price you paid to stand in this triumphant place. Chosen ones, do not be intimidated by the magnitude of what lies ahead. With greater blessings come greater responsibilities, yes, but also greater grace. Just as David transitioned from shepherd boy to king, you will transition into the role you were always destined to fulfill. At first, the newness can feel overwhelming, as though you are an imposter in your own life. But imposter syndrome has no jurisdiction where God has already declared you worthy. The same spirit that comforted you in the struggle will empower you to reign in the reward. And do not think you are meant to walk this path alone. Destiny is often confirmed by partnerships that appear in the new season. Watch as people with complementary gifts or resources come alongside you, drawn by a resonance they cannot quite explain. One of the gifts of a post-struggle season is the divine connections that accelerate your vision. These individuals have been assigned to help you carry the weight of your assignment, just as Aaron and Hur lifted Moses' arms so the battle could be won. Stay open to collaboration and unity, for pride or isolation can stifle the very move of God that is trying to flourish in your life. Take stock of where you are emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Let gratitude lead the way. Instead of focusing on what still needs to happen, celebrate what has already changed in you. Reflect on how your mindset has shifted from fear to boldness, how your spirit has learned to praise even in the darkest valleys, how your eyes have been trained to see possibility where others see defeat. This internal transformation was the real work all along, and the external reward is simply the outward reflection of the victory already won in your heart. Type 777 if gratitude is your anthem, if you choose to focus on the blessings at hand rather than any perceived lack. This posture of thankfulness is magnetic. It draws in more of what you celebrate. Like a joyous banquet that keeps adding more seats as people arrive, gratitude expands your capacity to receive. When you emanate thankfulness, you're essentially saying, "I have room for even more goodness." And heaven, noticing this, responds by filling every space you make available. Chosen ones, get ready to see old labels fall off. Perhaps you have been labeled as broke, unqualified, too damaged, or too late in life to achieve anything great. Those labels are about to be replaced by words like prosperous, innovative, redeemed, and right on time. The struggle had a way of convincing you that negative labels were your fate, but the reward will rewrite your narrative. Suddenly, the prefix of your identity will read victorious, and your story will inspire countless others who thought they were stuck in perpetual night. Some of you need to hear this. Do not allow guilt to sabotage your reception of the reward. Maybe you survived situations where others did not. Maybe you escaped tragedies that still haunt your memories. Survivor's guilt or undeservingness can creep in, whispering that you have no right to be blessed when others are suffering. But the truth is, your blessing can become a conduit of healing for those still in the trenches. By shining brightly, you illuminate the path for others to find their way out of darkness. That is how you honor those who are still struggling. You show them that the story can change. That morning does come after the longest night. Type 777 if you agree to reject all false guilt and embrace the fullness of your calling. There is no virtue in shrinking to make others comfortable. Christ himself said that a city on a hill cannot be hidden. Let your light shine as a testament to the goodness of the one who carried you through. This reward was promised, and your acceptance of it brings glory to the promise keeper. It is not arrogance to stand tall in your blessings. It is obedience to reflect the goodness poured into you. Chosen ones, you might begin to sense a new boldness stirring within you, prompting you to try things you once hesitated to attempt. That dream you shelved, that project you abandoned, that passion you suppressed, resurrect them in the light of this new season. The struggle taught you perseverance. Now let the reward teach you innovation and creativity. When you operate from a place of blessing, your mind is free to explore solutions that once seemed impossible. You are no longer weighed down by survival mode. You can dare to thrive, to build, to pioneer.